again. Welcome back to Myths, Legends, Stories, and Tales with Lady Liadan. Today we're going to travel to Ireland again, and we are going to read Jaimie O'Rourke and the Pooka by Tomie DePaola. Jaimie O'Rourke, Eileen said. Wake up, I have something to tell you. Jaimie, who was the laziest man in all of Ireland, was sleeping in the warm sun outside their cottage. His wife gave him a shake. Wake up, for heaven's sake, Eileen said again. I'm not sleepin', Jaimie answered with a yawn. Sure, I was sitting here thinking. What do you think he might have been thinking about? Now, Jaimie, please listen, Eileen replied. Do you remember that I am going to visit my sister Kathleen and her family to help with the new baby? Jaimie let out a snore. Eileen poked him. What are you doing, woman? Can't you see I'm right in the middle of solving a great problem? Jaimie answered. Well, now that's all the fine thoughts I was having have clear and flown out of my head. You might as well tell me what's going on. Eileen explained to Jaimie for the 40th time, most likely, that she was off to Kathleen's and we'd be there for the better part of a week. Now, Eileen went on, I've cleaned the cottage from top to bottom. I have cooked all kinds of good things and put them in the larder. All you have to do is the washing up each night and give a quick swipe of the broom every now and then. Well, me darlin', you're too good for the likes of me, Jaimie said. But don't you be worryin'. I'll take good care of everything so's you won't even know you've been away. Now give us a kiss and be off with you. Down the road went Eileen O'Rourke. What do you think's going to happen? Oh, this commotion has made me tired as a farmer plowing 5 fields, Jaimie said to himself. I think I'll just have me a lie down. And sure isn't that a sweet idea? If I stay in bed and only get up for a bite, I'll not be dirtying a thing. So Jaimie O'Rourke climbed into bed, even though the sun was high in the sky, and fell fast asleep. Jaimie! Jaimie O'Rourke! Three voices called outside the door. Where are you, man? We heard Eileen's off to her sister's, so we have come to keep you company. Something doesn't sound good. Jaimie woke up and recognized the voices of his cronies, Patrick, Michael, and Seamus. Jaimie got out of bed, and since he hadn't taken off his clothes, he didn't have to be putting them on again. Come in, lads, Jaimie said, opening the door. The sun was sinking behind the hills. Well, what do we have here? Jaimie asked, pointing at the crockery jug. 'Tis the finest cider you'll taste this side of the county, Patrick said. Get some mugs, Michael said. And some grub, said Seamus. He knew that Eileen wouldn't leave Jaimie without plenty of good things to eat. When the food was on the table, the mugs, plates, and knives and forks too, they sat down. They had themselves a fine old time, laughing and eating until it was time to go home. Well, the 3 friends told Jaimie, we'll be heading down the hill, and you'll be wanting to get your rest, Jaimie. Tomorrow you'll be having a busy morning cleaning up all this mess. Aye, that's the truth, lads, Jaimie said, looking around. But the mere sight of the messy cottage made him the most tired man in all of Ireland, as well as the laziest. So he went to bed. Jaimie was fast asleep when a noise woke him. It was the sound of the cottage door and the clatter of hooves on the floor. So Jaimie opened one eye and took a peek. And what a sight he saw! He couldn't tell if it were a man or a donkey standing there. Whatever it was, it had a long tail and ears. "Saints preserve us," Jaimie whispered. "Looks kind of scary." "I may as well begin first as last," the creature said. The creature, who was a Pooka, said out loud to himself. He stirred the fire, poured some water into a big pot, and put it on the fire. As soon as the water was hot, the Pooka washed the dishes, the mugs, and the cutlery. He put the leftovers in proper dishes and back into the larder. He swept the floor and gave the fire a good raking. Then the Pooka left the house with such a slam of the door, Jaimie nearly fell out of bed. Well, that was a very nice thing for the Pooka to do. The next evening, when Patrick, Michael, and Seamus came by with a fresh jug of cider, they were amazed to see the cottage as if Eileen had been there. "How did all this happen?" they asked. "Well, me lads, I got up with the birds and cleaned it all up just the way any good husband would do when his darling wife is away." Is that true? Did Jaimie do the work? Patrick, Michael, and Seamus looked at each other. They didn't really believe Jaimie, but there it was. So the four friends had another grand time just like the night before. When his friends had gone, leaving even more of a mess, Jaimie climbed into bed, but instead of falling asleep, he waited under the covers. Sure enough, the door opened, and the Pooka was back, cleaning up everything fast and furiously. "This is luck indeed," Jaimie said to himself. "Why, with this creature coming and cleaning up, I can have me cronies here every night, that is, until Eileen comes home." And that is what he did. Night after night, Jaimie, Patrick, Michael, and Seamus had a grand old time, making a grand old mess, and every night the Pooka came in and set things to right. By the end of the week, Jaimie was curious about this accommodating creature, so he decided to stay up and have a chat with him. He was a little scared when the Pooka came in and went right to the fire, but he took a deep breath, swallowed a mouthful of cider for courage, and spoke up. "What do you think's going to happen?" "Now then, sir, if I'm not taking a liberty, I might be knowing who you are, and why you're so kind as to do the cleaning up each night after me friends and myself." The Pooka turned and looked at Jaimie. "I'll tell you, and you're welcome to it. A long time back, I was the laziest servant that was ever clothed and fed. I did no work for it. When my time came for the other world, this is the punishment I was given for my lazy ways, to find a place each night to labor in. As I was wandering by the other night, I looked in the window of your cottage, and sure as can be, you needed my help. It's not so bad, for at least I'm out of the cold. But when I finish my work, the saints preserve us, that cold wind goes right through me bones. It wouldn't be so hard if I had a nice warm coat." Well, well, thought Jaimie, I can probably help this poor creature out. The next night, after his friends left, Jaimie sat down and waited for the Pooka. Eileen would be home tomorrow, but Jaimie wasn't worried. He knew that the Pooka would do an excellent job of cleaning up, especially when Jaimie gave him an old coat he had pulled from the trunk. What do you think's gonna happen? As soon as the Pooka came in, Jaimie showed him the coat. He helped him into it and buttoned it up. The Pooka went to the mirror. He was most pleased with what he saw. Oh. I'm much obliged to you, Jaimie O'Rourke. Now you have made me happy at last. Now I'll be saying good night to you. The Pooka turned to go. Wait, Jaimie cried out. You're leaving too soon. What about the washing up and the sweeping? Ah, the Pooka said. Now it's your turn. My punishment was only to last until some kind creature like yourself liked the way I had done my duty and rewarded me for it. Goodbye. You'll see no more of me. The Pooka left, and there was Jaimie with the mess. Or should we say, Eileen? For when she arrived the next morning and looked around the cottage, she said, Oh, Jaimie O'Rourke, what have you to say for yourself? But Jaimie said nothing. He was too busy thinking he shouldn't have been in such a hurry to reward that ungrateful Pooka. The end. What do you think about that Pooka? Was he helpful? He was. But what did he do to Jaimie in the end? He didn't tell Jaimie everything, did he? But then that's the way it is with spirits like that. They don't tell you everything. You figure it out yourself. Sometimes they're going to trick you. That's all the time we have for today. We'll see you next time.